Welcome back for another video. I spoke to 3 FPL World Champions for their final Game Week 1 teams, and I was blown away honestly by the variety in the teams. Like, whether you agree with their opinions or not, it's refreshing to see such different views to the game and who the best picks are. Jonas up first, who won FPL just a few years ago, an analytical manager, and what a team as well, so have a look at this. So he's gone Raya, Gabriel, Maguire, Mosquera, Wirtz and Bumo, Bruno Fernandes and Dye, Zobo, João Pedro and Isak. So his bench is Rushworth, Richarlison, Thomas and Van der Wijk. It looks like a definite Game Week 2 bench boost here with that triple commentary. No Haaland though is the headline, and I mean he's definitely chasing maximum rank swings here. Triple Arsenal defence, triple Liverpool attack, triple commentary defence for Game Week 2, Bruno captain, and as I say, no Haaland. But it's actually brilliant, and you've got to respect the approach. And it's what won him the whole thing comfortably before. And I asked the champions for their thoughts. Here's what Jonas said. I'm looking to bench boost in Game Week 2 and bet against Haaland. I like the structure without Haaland, and I believe it can do well. It's obviously a risk, but I hope it can pay off. It's incredible what you can do without Haaland. As you can see, I've got triple Arsenal defence, so them getting clean sheets to begin with would be huge. Same goes for my triple Liverpool, triple commentary and triple Man United. My plan to wildcard early allows me to do this, trying to grab some differentials and covariance over the first few game weeks. The plan is to wildcard in Game Week 3 to get Haaland, who is, in my opinion, essential from that game week, commentary home. I'm honestly still not 100% sold on Wirtz's minutes, so he's the one that could be a late change. The upside with Richarlison is definitely there, with him potentially having pens and Spurs improving massively and Solanke injured. But if they sign another attacker before Friday, then I might have to leave him out. I believe Thiago is the one that's being overlooked. Great output last season with the numbers to back him, but I understand it might be tough fitting him into your team, unless you're on no Haaland as well. Gakpo can be interesting, but we know too little about his future and Liverpool's Barcola interest. Tarkowski as well actually. If you're going long with your wildcard or bench boost, I think he's a great pick. He's got the goal threat, great for defcons, but his minutes might be threatened long term. Bruno, he's got so many routes to points, he's a no-brainer for me, essential. And the same goes for Szoboszlai, who might be on pens. We don't know if Isak could be the designated pen taker, but either way I've got 100% pen share in my team. I still believe Zob will play 90 minutes, Isak probably not. Anderson's left my draft, but I do expect he'll continue to do the defcons. Gross may have pens, in that case he'll be a standout 5.5 mil option. They have just signed Promised David on loan, who's taken 12 pens in his career, but Gross is still a valid option, even without the pens though, as he was last season. So that's Jonas's team, what do you guys think? As Jonas said, it is a short-term strategy, it's just the opening 2 game weeks, and then you reset the team with a wild card. It's perhaps the biggest trade-off to go no Haaland. You cannot go into Game Week 3 commentary home without him really. Meaning basically that's a Game Week 3 free hit or wildcard needed, but a lot of people are looking at wildcard 4 anyway, so it's just a week earlier. Something I've not really thought about too much, but might be tricky with wildcard 3 is how you're fitting in triple Chelsea when they've got Arsenal that week, because the appeal with wildcard 4, one of the appeals is you go triple Chelsea for the whole home, and you're going to need triple Chelsea on wildcard 3, so yeah, I guess you just have to bench all 3 that week. So it probably means the sacrifice is a weaker 11 played that game week specifically. Anyway, if any of you are going with no Haaland, let us know in the comments and what's your reasoning. Joshua Bull next. Genius mathematician winning FPL in 2020, but is his draft genius? He's gone Kinski, Pedro Porro, Maguire, Calafiori, Davis and Bumo, Bruno, Semenyo, Foden, João Pedro and Haaland. And it's a super light bench. It's Dubravka, Varliageli, Thomas and McAteer. The idea is to start Davis, he said. I just like a cheap defender with attacking potential, and I think he'll have a slightly different role this season to last time when we were in the Premier League, where he was really overstretched. Everyone else probably speaks for themselves. I'm not at all sure about Bruno at 12 million, but he's got great fixtures to start, and it'll be a lot easier to jump off him to someone else if needed than it would be to get him in if he starts the season brilliantly. I haven't thought that hard about chip strategy, but I'm not planning an early bench boost. Between rolling transfers and the first wildcard, I think it's much easier to get a good bench boost team once the season has settled in a bit, so I don't see huge value in the early bench boost. I'd love to have one of Saka or Palmer in, and also there seems to be good value in the 6 mil forwards. You can't have everyone though, and the idea is that between Foden, Bumo, Semenyo, Bruno, it should be easy to pivot to one of those more expensive mids if they suddenly look essential. Same at the front, João Pedro to the 6 mil is an easy move to make if needed, and João Pedro doesn't take off. Vardy won't be nailed, but he will get minutes, so he's a handy 4.5 mil forward. Foden is the one spot I'm unsure on. He could still change. For example, Szoboszlai for the same price, or a 6 mil mid frees up 1 mil to strengthen the team depth. You always need luck to win FPL, don't get me wrong. The skill is putting yourself in the best position to be lucky. The best tool, in my opinion, that we have is stats. They're the least biased way of comparing players and making decisions. It doesn't make them perfect, and people can always cherry pick stats to support a pre-existing narrative, so just be careful as well there. And it does also include fooling ourselves into pretending that our decisions are always based on evidence and not the other way around. Don't be afraid to recognise that your own picks are biased or not working out and change them. Recognising that you've made a mistake backing your favourite player or ignoring a popular choice and correcting it is better than doubling down. Yeah, it's a completely stacked 11 Josh has gone for, just a very light bench, but that is a valid approach just for the start of the season. Given you can obviously activate the early wildcard, Game Week 3, we've talked about Game Week 4, Game Week 6, they're all great weeks for the wildcard. There's going to be tons of early wildcards this season, mark my words. I've not seen Pedro Porro in many drafts, but obviously Spencer's gone to Serie A. I think he's set for a big year, Porro. And in case you missed it, Josh is an Ipswich fan, and he's gone for Davies over the other 4 mil defenders, O'Shea or Diop, interestingly. And Ben Crabtree, who got style points for his FPL win, avoiding Liverpool players all season as an Everton fan. And he's gone for Brugge, Vardiol, Mykolenko, Calafiori, and Mbeumo Semenyo, and Dye, Cunha, Calvert-Lewin, Haaland and João Pedro. And on his bench, Rushworth, Rodgers, Bogle and Van der Wijk. Here's what Ben said. I've settled on my attackers Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro and Haaland quite quickly, with just a little question mark over Rodgers starting Game Week 1, but he's on the bench. I've decided to bench boost in Game Week 2, followed by a likely but not locked in wildcard shortly after. I've landed on some cheaper defenders I'm happy with due to the short term nature of them. Vardio and Calafiori I like a lot, but they are rotation risk. I'm hoping good early form will at least keep them secure at the beginning. Mihajlovic, Mykolenko, Van der Wijk all have reasonable fixtures for Game Week 1 and the Game Week 2 bench boost. The plan is to have 2 transfers to Game Week 3 where I'll likely make at least 1 defensive transfer, hoping that my attack will be in good shape and not need any changes. In midfield, the double up on Man United is to attack their first 2 fixtures with having to make compromises that Fernandes does require. Cunha does have a question mark over him at the moment, so I'll monitor his likely start and I might have to make a late change. And Mbeumo looks safer. He does have competition though. Sesko's in training, Amad's been playing loads in pre-season. Unless his form drops, then Semenyo looks like a season keeper, and I've swapped in Dyer to Dewsbury Hall from my last draft. Rodgers is a player that I really like, and he's okay to bench for Game Week 1 as I say, on the assumption he's deemed fully fit to start Game Week 2. He played the other day in pre-season, so he looks safe. I see myself owning him for a lot of the season, and up front it does feel like the obvious front 3, Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro, Haaland. Haaland and the underpriced João Pedro are easy picks, with DCL having the pre-season form and early fixtures to be the safest bet on that 6 mil slot. And in goal, I'm keeping it cheap with Rushworth the backup just for the bench boost. So that's 2 champions now that are going to bench boost in Game Week 2 and not Game Week 1, which does seem to be the more popular chip strategy. That's something I'm going to have to look at again myself. What's really interesting as well, I said at the start of the video, is the variety between the drafts, like Jonas with the 3-5-2, no Haaland bench boost 2. And then you got Josh who had the 4-4-2, no chip planned, and he had Haaland and Bruno. And then you got Ben who's gone no Bruno, he's gone 3-4-3, another different formation, and he's bench boosting Game Week 2. You never know what you're going to get back when you reach out to these world champions, and I think it's really refreshing to see these different opinions, even if you don't agree. Like ultimately, going against the grain is what led to all 3 winning the whole thing. And I think I've battled a little bit with this myself, if I'm totally honest, because how rogue do you go? And what if it completely backfires? Like the elephant in the room, I think essentially this applies to every content creator, or most of them. They'll have the same train of thought where you can play relatively template, earn a respectable final rank, top 50k, top 10k maybe, whatever. But you're never going to win FPL by playing template for 38 game weeks. Now Eric just won FPL last year. It was his first year, so he did lots of stuff that didn't seem to make much sense but came off. Like he captained Tarkowski in Game Week 1. And then he did later settle down to a more template strategy once he got a grip of the game. But yeah, the other side of the coin is like if you go rogue and you're sat in the millions halfway deep into the season, a huge number of people won't have any interest in watching you, in my opinion. Obviously some still would, but many wouldn't. Like imagine if I'm sat here giving tips every week and I'm ranked in the millions. in the second half of the season because I went all in to try and win FPL and got it totally wrong. Anyway, went on a bit of a tangent there at the end. There's links to their Twitter accounts in the description. Thank you to all three. I'll be back with another video later today. The top all-time managers series is back. I'll see you soon for the next one.